You know, I have to say it kind of pains me in a way to even load this save file back up. The last episode brought to us one of the biggest playoff disappointments, perhaps in the history of my channel, for this team to go 0-4, to be swept in the first round by Carolina, but not only to be swept, but to be embarrassed is so defeating. To get, I mean, again, 5-goal loss, close game, lost by 3 and shut out, lost by 3. We were embarrassed. Undeniably, we were embarrassed. And moving forward, we know that further changes have to happen to this team, whether it simply be Will Butcher being traded. I mean, the hope is that we can re-sign him here. The focus, of course, is going to be on the UFAs as opposed to some of the RFAs we have, like Besser. Butcher is an RFA. He's going to be the first RFA that we target, because if we can sign him, of course, we know for a fact he's being traded. Whereas with some of these other guys, it's not exactly a guarantee. But you look, Hellebuck, Ottinger, Hayden Hockey, just for the goaltenders. This is not going to be easy. So to compound the loss, as, oh god, Hellebuck doesn't want to sign for cheap at all. Oh my god. To compound the loss in the last episode, the embarrassment in the last episode, with what I'm going to have to deal with here in trying to make sure that we time everything appropriately to make sure that we are able to hold on to basically everybody, I mean, that we don't lose anybody for free, it's going to be difficult. And we're going to drop Ottinger down to 2.3. The majority of the contracts that we're going to hand out will be one-year deals, just to try and make sure that we get the most value for our money at the moment. So you kind of see where the hesitation and the frustration comes in from when it comes to even loading this save file back up. We were embarrassed in the last episode, and now there is the struggle of trying to keep everything together when this situation, put it this way, one way or another, the foundation of this team is going to look a little bit rocky, right? That was the case no matter what after this season. The problem is our lack of success makes this situation that much more dire. It really does. It really does. We'll see what happens, though, as Borgen is willing to accept. So I could drop this down a little bit lower. Let's just go 950. That should be fine. And Lindgren is willing to accept a two-way deal, which is kind of nice. So that'll help us out a little bit. See if we can re-sign Reedy. He's also willing to accept a two-way deal. We'll bump up the money for him a little bit. Ryan Donato needs a contract that, again, I'll just knock down to 1 year. And the reason why I'm knocking everybody down to 1 year, even if they're willing to accept, I mean, if they are willing to accept, if they're not willing to accept, whatever, I'm just trying to keep it simple. And again, it'll make some players easier to trade. Even if, for example, with Trouba, a longer deal would have resulted in a bigger pay cut for him, an 8-year deal is certainly more difficult to move. So we'll see who accepts. From there, we'll trade away whoever we have to at the draft, although, again, there's no real set plan here. This is all just kind of on a whim. You know, I can't think of how to phrase it here. There's a saying for it. It's just not coming to mind in terms of how we're having to handle this. Is Mishmash an RFA? He's not, and he's looking for way too much. So say goodbye to Grant Mishmash. I'm going to make sure we hold on to him, but 1,000% he is being traded. I mean, look at this. I can't even knock that down. I'm going to have to bump that up to get him to come back. That's insane. That is absolutely insane. But in not wanting to lose any of our prospects, I think I tried to do the 85% trick on Middlestat, which obviously isn't going to work. What a disaster this is. Half of the guys don't even want to come back. I don't care about Tyler Pitlick if he resigns. Rem Pitlick we'll try to hold on to. Half the guys don't want to come back, and it's like, well, the reason you don't want to come back is because this team underperformed. This team underperformed because you shit the bed in the playoffs. You didn't show up. That said, I don't want to lose you for nothing. I at least want to get something. Ottinger signed, Trouba rejected. I'm just going to spam the A button and we'll double check who signed and who rejected. We have a little bit of time here before the draft anyway. We simmed from April 19th. It's now the 23rd. So we have time to work this out. We went from 17 expiring contracts to 9. So we have time to work this out. We just have to be smart. So again, for goaltenders, how much money do we have left? We still have $26 million. That's not bad. Hellebuck doesn't want to re-sign. For a one-year deal, he's looking for a boatload of money, but that's what I have to do. If we have to trade, Connor Hellebuck's going to be traded. I don't necessarily want to do it, but with how much money he's making, he is more than likely going to have to be traded, which really sucks, because I don't know if I have faith in Ottinger to be the man moving forward, but that's looking like what we're going to have to do. And then from there, depending on who's being traded, do we look for a blockbuster, because there are concerns about the likes of Jack Eichel and others. What a situation. What a mess we find ourselves in right now, huh? 5.5 for Middlestat. Paling, let's bump that up to 3.8. And even Tyler Pitlick, screw it. I'll bring it back for a year just so that I don't have to see you listed here. So as far as how much progress we make in this episode, I'm honestly not sure. It might just be through the draft. I'm not sure what there is to really expect when it comes to free agency. Hellebuck rejects. Trouba, Paling, Middlestat are back, which is nice. That leaves us, 3 players in the RFAs to be re-signed? Yeah, that's it. So, yeah, there were 3 RFAs. Let's take a look. As far as how much money we have available now, again, I have no clue whatsoever. So we had Tyler Pitlick, who rejected. What a douche. I mean, if he's not willing to accept that, then whatever, he's not going to stay. Goaltenders, Hellebuck. Oh my god, $12 million left. I'm going to have to go up to about $8 million for one season to sign him. That's certainly going to reduce the value. Hayden Hockey continues to be extremely frustrating, but I don't want to lose him for nothing, even though he doesn't have an incredible amount of value. At this point, I'm out of laziness. I'm not letting go of Pitlick and Hockey, even though technically it's putting in more effort to try to sign them. I just don't want to lose anybody. I want to be able to move players. Hellebuck is back. Pitlick rejected. Hockey is back. All right, so Tyler Pitlick is the only one that we're not really going to have control over, aside from the RFAs, who don't need to be signed immediately, outside of Butcher, who we could then trade at the draft. So he is the main target. We have 5.3 left. He doesn't want to re-sign. Too bad, buddy. 1 year at $5 million. Hopefully he accepts that and Will Butcher will be traded. Man, this was our year. This was our year to try and do some damage before things kind of fell apart. And we just couldn't do it. We just couldn't pull it together. Will Butcher's back, so that's pretty much it for us in terms of the salary situation for the moment, at least in terms of money that we have to re-sign players with. So we will move forward towards the draft, and you know what, in case I end up going over to free agency, I'm going to need to double check some players potentially, although how much money are we going to have? I have no idea. Let me turn on the old laptop. There you go, that nice little charger beep there. That sounds great. And let's see. Let's go forwards for a few more weeks. Actually, WHL. Let's scout out the WHL. We know Americans can show up in any of the junior leagues, really. Laptop, do you want to stop, please? I know the charger port has a loose connection, but come on now. Help me out a little bit. Stop being distracting to me. I don't even know if it's distracting to you guys. It's certainly distracting to me. We'll sim to the draft. It is St. Louis and Florida in the Stanley Cup Final. I'll handle the scouting differently moving forward. I think I'll do my 4 weeks in the U.S. and then move on to the junior leagues, as the St. Louis Blues have won the Stanley Cup this year. Let's go ahead and take a look at their winning team, the awards for this season, and everything else. We'll go to the OHL for a week. If you'd like to stop the sim, please, I would appreciate it. Thank you, EA. Let's go ahead and get a season wrap-up. Even though it's a season, that I would love to forget. So we know the Blues ended up beating the Panthers in the final. They did it in 6 games. Down in the AHL, the San Diego Gulls beat the Belleville Sens in 7. As far as what this Stanley Cup winning team looks like, well, that's a very good question. Let's find out. The answer is certainly better than ours. The forward core consists of Kirill Kaprizov, Nicholas Backstrom, Mark Jankowski, Jake Gensel, Alex Ovechkin, Steven Stamkos, Jesus God, Bjugstad, Andre Kasha, Sean Zancanaro, Zach Aston Reese, Drew Stafford, and Alex Nylander. Good Lord. Markstrom was the goaltender, who is somehow up to an 88 because this game does strange things. 929 save percentage defensively. Ghost Bear, Eric Johnson, Colin Miller, Jacob Larson, Gavin Bayreuther, and Connor Carrick. Oh my God, what a team. Even though defensively, it's not the strongest we've ever seen, and of course the goaltending's kind of hilarious, but what a team that is. Stamkos and Ovechkin on the same club. The Wild's reign of terror has come to an end, even though the Cup stays in the Western Conference for the 4th straight year. Laine wins the Art Ross and the Hart. Ghost Bear the Norris. Kucherov the Lady Bing. The Calder goes to Jonathan Dahlin. The Conn Smythe to Markstrom. The Vezina to Holtby. Anderson. The Fanderson with the Jennings. The Masterton to Jake Dotchin. Ryan O'Reilly the Selke. The Ted Lindsay Award to Patrick Laine. And the Rocket Richard goes to Ilya Kovalchuk. Down in the AHL, I believe it's Chase DeLeo put up the most points. League MVP was Partinen, not sure. Most goals went to Gregory Denisenko. Rookie of the Year, Joe Mileno. Eric Bronstrom, the Defenseman of the Year. Michael DiPietro, the Goaltender of the Year. And the MVP of the playoffs was Andrin. Don't know, but regardless, he won it. He did it. He is the man, officially. And that will, outside of the progress reports, conclude what has to be one of the more disappointing seasons in the history of this channel. Well, let's take a look here. Some middle stats up to an 88. I'm only going to pay attention to greens. Jack Hughes is up to an 82. Ottinger up to an 81. Mishmash now an 82. Quinn Hughes an 80. Bracco's also an 80. And Ferentz up to a 79, which could be incredibly helpful. He might be the one to make the team and be on the 3rd line next year. Farabee and Wallstrom, both up to 78s. Nolan Foote up to a 75. Decent chance I package him in a trade with Butcher. Bertuzzi up to a 75. Samuelson a 74. Timmins a 72. Wolf a 71, as is Rantoul. And Van Kadishin. Kaliev a 70. 3-point improvement for Caldwell. 2 points for Chorney. A point for Mr. Parks. And that is that. So some decent improvement, particularly among our younger players, of course, our brand new prospects, as opposed to, the computer-generated prospects, I suppose is the right way to phrase it. Well, let's go ahead and get a look at the lottery. Of course, all we have left at this point, if I'm remembering right, is our 1 first-round pick, which will be outside of the top 15 as Nashville gets the number 1 overall selection. So this is kind of an interesting spot to find ourselves in right now. In terms of the retired players list, we don't lose anybody, which is not really a surprise. Daniel Sedin, Marian Gaborik, Jeff Carter, Zdeno Chara, and company. For goaltenders, Craig Anderson, Curtis McElhaney, and Reto Berra. Justin Pogge, Leafs legend Justin Pogge, also retired. So let's do this, shall we? The drafts, where it's perhaps more important. To be honest, I don't even care. I don't even care about the draft board. We'll just see when we get there. I don't even know if I'm going to make this pick. I might move this pick, depending on where it is. It is 20th. What are the odds that there's still someone decent available at 20 that's an American? We have Yandel, Dingman, Scrimes, the goalie, Gibson, there he is, Sanderson, John Law. It's not looking good. There's a decent chance I don't even make a draft pick here. Unless I'm mistaken and that's not our only pick, I do have to wonder how good Gibson is. Probably not good enough to take the extreme risk. Dingman as well. I don't think I'm even going to make a selection here, to be honest. I think it's a matter of moving out players that we no longer need. And here's the thing. we're looking for a blockbuster today because Connor Hellebuck has to go. I mean, he's going to be... I mean, $8 million for a goaltender of his caliber might not be the worst thing in the world, but it's too much, especially when you look at Jack Eichel making as much as he's making. Hellebuck has to go. The problem is, $8 million deal, that value has dropped. It's still good, but the value has dropped a little bit. Now, in terms of the players that we could ideally go out and get, of course, Austin Matthews was here on Dallas, if I'm not mistaken. No longer a full value bar. And that is, he just signed a $7.8 million extension. Matthews might be possible. Take a look here. He just put up 49 points, though. That is not promising. Only 49 points from Matthews. Who else did we have here? I'm trying to remember where these guys were. Minnesota was the home of Kyle Connor. Not too promising. Oh boy, where else were these guys? Keller was on Philadelphia. He now has a full value bar. There was Boychuk. There was Goodrow. And one other. And I don't remember what team he was on. And to be honest, I don't really think it matters. He's trading for Clayton Keller out of the question now. He's on a great deal. I'm going to try. I might as well. With Connor Hellebuck needing to be traded. We have Ottinger and we have Timmins for the future. It's not ideal, but Ottinger's going to be the man moving forward. Defensively, in terms of what it's looking like moving forward, Trouba isn't on a terrible deal. Butcher's not. I mean, yeah, Butcher is. Trouba can stay. McAvoy stays. Butcher's gone. What else do we have in terms of someone who is perhaps being stupidly overpaid now next season? Extension salary, 5 for Middlestat and Donato, mishmash. That's way too goddamn much. That is way, way too much. Like, offensively, it's kind of coming together, but there's no way. Not a chance. Paling is almost making too much as well. Mishmash has to go. Hellebuck, Butcher, Mishmash. Again, this is what I was afraid of, and this is why that loss was so disappointing, knowing that this was coming. Maybe not to this extent, but having it go so poorly has resulted now in a lot of these players saying, hey, we want out. And that's the problem. These three players... Oh, no, not Besser. That won't go through on its own. We basically know that for sure. If it did, I'd kind of be alright with it. But still, I'm going to safety net it with a third-round pick. That will not go through. No. How about straight up? No. I'll use our first-round pick, because I don't have much use for it. I'll safety net it just with a little bit of value. The only reason I'm doing this is so that if it goes through, I can then use that second-round pick to maybe go out and get something else. That didn't go through, and it's also woefully insufficient. Third-rounder? That delay had me thinking maybe. How far away are we? Again, I don't care about getting rid of those three players. I have no use for them if they're going to be costing us that much. And the first-round pick, it's going to be about the same value in terms of a medium top 6 player. Maybe a tad bit more. That's right, I was going to use Nolan Foote. Will that go through? God damn it. The problem is, I don't want to go out for Austin Matthews. I don't have faith in Austin Matthews to be the player that we need him to be. But these 5 assets right here can go. The problem is, what the hell can I get? I don't want Patrick Kane. I mean, maybe, but you know, if they retain some salary, he's 32 years old. That regression's gonna start sooner rather than later. I'm not sure. It might honestly have to be Patrick Kane. I might have to try it at least. Phil Kessel's there, but again, a year older in terms of point total. I mean, he was great last year, but he's 33. God damn, that's just too much. It's way too much, or, you know, it's just way too much value for me. I'd have to do separate trades. And this is the only time where I'm really going to have the ability to go out and to really make this big of a deal. We thought when we were exploring the Goodrow deal, that was going to be the only chance. Well, things changed. Keller's just, it's not going to happen. So I'm thinking Patrick Kane might be the guy. Again, the problem is I would greatly prefer if they would retain salary on Kane, and I just don't see that happening. Of course, all these top prospects that have been drafted are Canadian. What about Palmanville? No, see, every great prospect's Canadian. That's great. That's great. Riley, Legren, Jones, Morozov. The way I see it, I either have to find some ridiculous way to pull in Patrick Kane, or we go for Austin Matthews, who, point total wise, I'm not overly impressed, but he, Eichel, and Besser as a top line could certainly be interesting. I'm going to try for Patrick Kane. If that doesn't happen, then we go for Matthews. And I don't see any other answer here, because these assets all have to be moved. They're getting paid way too much, and it's not worth keeping them. And how the hell Anders Lee's value jumped up that high? His value wasn't that high when we moved him, was it? I don't recall that being the case. Johnny Gaudreau, what did you do point total-wise? 62. I might try for Gaudreau again, too, if Patrick Kane doesn't work. To be honest, I'm going to try for Gaudreau now. Might as well. I have too many skaters, so let me add just throwaways to this who have expiring deals. So Krastenberg, so I just immediately cut him. Boston would have too many goalies, son of a bitch. Let me go over to goaltenders. Hopefully you have someone with an expiring deal. You do. Flodell. You'd still have too many players. Oh my god, Boston, sort your shit out, would you? Would you? Alright, one other player. One other player, expiring deal with low value. Patrick Bykov. Right. So the value looks like it's heavily in their favor, but is it actually? Safety net was, that's a high second, but still, just in case that didn't go through. How about the third round pick next year? Just playing it safe. You never know if it might magically go through. Straight up, no. Alright, so Gaudreau's not going to happen. Which means, what are the goddamn odds that Patrick Kane happens, especially if I want Vancouver to retain salary, in which case they already can't afford him. They couldn't retain salary on him. It wasn't Vancouver. Hold on, who was it? Oh, it was Washington. Nope, it was Winnipeg. There we go. I knew it was a Canadian team. So Winnipeg could afford to retain some salary here on Kane. It's just, is that the smarter move? Kane or Matthews? We wouldn't get as many years out of Patrick Kane, but in terms of goal-scoring ability, to be honest, it wasn't great. It hasn't been great over the past 2 years. So he's a 60-point guy. Matthews put up, what, 40 points this past season, was it? Or was it 60? Am I just losing my mind and trying to talk myself out? Yeah, it was 49 points. Jesus. So do we just hope that he gets better? Or do we go for Patrick Kane and try to find success immediately? I just don't know. If I can get Patrick Kane, even for just a few years, on 50% salary, it's worth it. Will it go through? I don't know. Am I paying $10 million for him, though? Absolutely not. If I can get him on 50% salary, it's worth it. They'd be just over. Okay, a little bit under. Yes, I know what the salary thing is, though. Sometimes it works out. Jesse, case in point, even that, or it's in green. It'd still be over the cap next year. How long would you be over the cap for next year? Son of a bitch. Really? Alright, Winnipeg. Let's sort this out. Again, I want Kane on 50% salary. And I will take back somebody. I'll buy out somebody at this point. I don't care. Who has a terrible contract with not much time left? Ryan Callahan. Who, coincidentally, is American and is eligible. They'd still be over the cap. Jesus Christ. Okay. Well, I don't know what the hell their financial situation is, but that leaves us with one option left, and that leaves us with Austin Matthews. He is the only one that we can possibly get. My question is, do they have anybody else that would be worth getting? that is also American and has some value outside of Kyle Okposo and Chris Kreider for obvious reasons. Bobby Ryan as well. No, they don't have anybody. So, I should be able to take the first rounder out of the equation. Hellebuck, Butcher, Mishmash, and Foot. I should be able to get Matthews out of this without even giving up that much, but we'll see. They don't want to trade their pick. Right. Let me take out those two. So Hellebuck and Butcher, and I'll safety net it with a second round pick because value-wise that might be kind of close. You know, I'm really paranoid about the value here. Just let me safety net this just in case. Will that go through? Rejected. Let me take that out. Let me take that out. Okay, like I said, a little bit paranoid, I know, but after losing to the extent that we have lately, I need to make sure that we actually win something for once, and this is something that I can actually control in terms of whether or not we win it or not. Unfortunately, that won't go through straight up. So we'll go ahead. I'm thinking Nolan Foot or maybe Mishmash. Let's try to use Mishmash here. They don't want him, but still. They'd have too many players. Again, I can take anybody back here with an expiring deal, and we'll just cut them. So, Kevin Connaughton. Will that go through? Wow. Like, I know they don't want to trade him, so that increases the value, obviously, but I didn't think it would be that high. We're going to add Nolan Foot. Is this a lot to give up? It is. Paid too much, paid too much, paid too much, and you have the conflicting eligibilities. So, let's see. Who else had a one-year deal? Joe Blandisi. And we'll safety net this. But we should be close to getting this deal to go through. And it does just kind of show how far off we were from potentially getting a deal for Clayton Keller. Second round pick. Still too much. Still too much. What about the third round pick? Is that enough? Straight up? Oh my god. Do I just give up the first round pick? Or do I give up somebody else if the difference was just a little bit? And then I can at least get somebody half decent for that pick after moving basically everybody that I wanted to move. So again, Eichel's still getting paid $10 million per. Trouba's at 9 or 6'9", Middlestad's at 5'5", Besser has to be signed, McAvoy's still on a goddamn tremendous deal, DeBrincat's still on a good deal, Donato's getting paid a decent amount, Milano, that's a fair contract, Chris and Bracco, that's okay, even though I don't recall signing Jeremy Bracco to that much money, but apparently I did. And then Jones also needs to be signed. I think we're okay. Is there anybody else that I can add to this deal, though, just to play it safe? Forwards. So the top six, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Somebody has to be moved anyway. Because we're going to be adding Matthews, and Hughes is going to be ready for the top six. So we're going to have to move 2 more players out of that top six anyway. As far as who that's going to be, I don't know. It comes down to who do we want to keep between Milano, Donato, DeBrincat, and Eichel. Middlestad, Besser, and Hughes are staying. And if we get Matthews, he's staying. So I could preemptively make that trade now. I won't, but I could. It also depends on some of the other player progression. I don't know if Rem Pitlick has any value, but does he have enough to swing this deal? They'd have too many players. Shit. So if I use another player here, it's going to have to be somebody that has a decent amount of value that can kind of make up for it, or is unsigned, which I don't think we have anybody that fits that description. This is an extra top 6 player if I do that. What about the third round pick next year? Is that enough? Connor Hellebuck, Will Butcher, Grant Mishmash, mainly because they're all getting paid too goddamn much, and Nolan Foot, because of his conflicting, born in America but technically plays for Team Canada, along with a third round pick next year for essentially just Austin Matthews. We have to do this because of the cap. Do we have to go that crazy? Could I technically hold on to Hellebuck? Sure, but we're not getting an Austin Matthews level player. We would be getting a Kyle Connor and a draft pick for Butcher, Mishmash, and Foot. That's the type of player we get otherwise as a Kyle Connor. Is that any different than the Donato or Milano situation? It's not. And I don't want to be stuck in that situation. DeBrincat as well. Will this go through? No, it won't. We'll try the second round pick next year. That should go through. And of course, because I always have to feel like I'm winning a damn trade, give me a 7th round pick, please. Thank you, hopefully. There we go. A blockbuster and a half is completed. Austin Matthews is a Blue Jacket. I don't know how I feel about it. Just because, again, we were in cap hell thanks to nobody wanting to re-sign with us after the collapse this season. Hayden Hockey can kick rocks. I don't even care if he's like, I don't know, maybe actually for a backup, he's okay. I take back what I said, Hayden, for now. I think we're fine. We'll take one of the players eligible in the draft. Maybe try to find a 7th round steal. Let's do this. We should have the money to re-sign everybody. If we don't, well then, you know, I'll have the ability to let them just go to free agency as RFAs and then sign them from there. Or trade away whoever I have to free up the space. Dingman is left. Gibson is left. Dingman, it's just whether or not he's medium top 6. Gibson, if he's medium starter, that would be pretty nice. I'm going to go for Colton Gibson because we did just trade away a goaltender. So Gibson's my pick. And he's okay. Medium starter at a 60 overall for an 18-year-old is pretty damn good. So Gibson, welcome to the team. As far as how the rest of this draft plays out, I know some people like to see whether or not there were steals. I honestly cannot say that I care right now. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. We'll see later on if there's like a franchise level player and we see where they were drafted and they end up, being in the 7th round or something. It'll probably happen. Who do we have here? Clem is probably terrible, but low top 6 would be okay. Medium top 6 would be amazing. Ben Clem, the 18-year-old, is our selection, and Clem is low top 9, to the surprise of absolutely nobody. But that's okay. It was at least worth a shot. So we take Gibson with the 20th pick in this draft, but the big story is the cap hell that we found ourselves in that led to us trading Connor Hellebuck and company to the Dallas Stars for Austin Matthews. And again, once we get to the preseason here and we see some of the progression, you guys are going to have a pretty goddamn big situation on your hands. You're going to have a big decision to make in terms of how the hell we keep everything together. So Blandisi is gone. Connaughton's gone. Pitlick is gone for now. It's just Besser and Jones that we have to worry about. Thankfully, both want to re-sign. We don't have that much money, but we do have enough to sign both of them. And again, I'll try to get Besser on as low of a deal as possible, which really is now the right time to sign Besser long-term. What's the best deal for him? I mean, the money total drops regardless, so he doesn't seem to care. What would that be if we do the 85% trick on an 8-year deal? Just to check. 7.6, which for Besser's a pretty damn good deal. Drop that down, save an extra 600K. We'll just call it 7 mil. Drop that down to save an extra 6.5. So 6.5 for 6 years for Besser would be just a stupidly good deal. Let's just make sure we're right here. Yeah, it'd be 6.63, which is still fine. 6.65 over 6 years for Brock Besser. I'll take it. And then Jones is looking for a sweetheart deal. I'm going to drop it down to 1 year, though, just for the sake of saving that little bit of extra. 115 should go through. Both of them sign, then we'd be good to move on to free agency. As far as having the cap space to sign anybody in free agency, we won't have that unless I stop the episode. Like, if there's someone good available, I'll stop the episode. Besser rejected and Jones rejected. Right. So that's good. It's weird, though. Jones is like, hey, I was clear with how long I wanted to stick around for the team for. It's like, well, I didn't offer you a longer contract. I offered you a shorter contract. So that doesn't exactly make sense. Besser wants 4 years, whatever. We'll go for that. I'll give him what he wants. I'll still do the 85% and knock it down to about 5.9, which is still an amazing deal, if not an even better deal. So thank you, Brock. You probably saved me from myself. And then Max Jones. Let's go ahead and save a little bit of money. We'll drop that down to 1.4. Hopefully both accept. We can move on. If there is a big fish to find in free agency, we'll stop the episode. Otherwise, we will sim to the preseason and check out the progression that we get from our prospects that will result. Oh my God. Everybody on this team has to be difficult right now. There isn't a player on this team that I'm thankful to have. I hate every single one of them. Except for Jack Hughes. Besser, you're killing me here, buddy. You're absolutely killing me here. Like, come on. I'll drop it down to 6. 6x4 is still a damn good deal for me and a damn good deal for you. Please take it. And for Jones, I mean, just, how about 1.5 over 2 years? For the love of God, just take it. Stop making this difficult for me. This team is just killing me right now. It's unbelievable what I've had to just try and do here in this offseason. I will stab Brock Besser figuratively because I'm talking about a video game character and not the person, so don't even try it. But I will just, I mean, then again, I didn't even have to finish the sentence because the words "I will stab Brock Besser" are still out there twice over now. So that's good. All right, 625. Please give me some sort of a discount. Do you need a compliment at this point? Do you really need someone else to compliment your gorgeous hair? I don't think you do. I think you know. There's no way you don't know. So why do you need to hear it from me? Just sign the damn contract. Thank you. Oh yeah, it was an easy decision. All right. To the start of free agency we go. Oh boy, this has been one of the more difficult re-sign phase, draft phase. It's just, oh my God, this offseason. Free agency. Is there a big fish available? Not really. If at all. There's nobody. Good. The question now, do we have any prospects? Goaltenders, there's still also no one. The Russian goaltenders are there. That's about it. Hines, I have no way of checking if Leonard Hines is eligible, and that sucks, but that's one of the downsides to this. On defense, Bowen Byram, who is Canadian, unfortunately. I wish you weren't. I will use you in one of these series, one of these days, Bowen. One of these days. Max Gilden is American. I'm not sure what the contract situation is, but you know what? I don't really care. Let me try to sign Mr. Gilden. Vince Dunn, I believe, is Canadian. He is. Benton Moss. Is it Mass or Moss? He's Canadian, though, I believe. I believe this keyboard's not cooperating. Sorry. No, Benton's American. All right, cool. Well, we'll try to sign him, too. Oh, Rogers. Got no way to check. No way to check for Rogers, Riley Grant Pierre, or Ryan Gore, unfortunately. That brings us to the wingers. Tootin, no way to check, but we can assume that he's not. Spinners 25, so screw that. Bastion, Diamore, Kuznetsov, LaPierre, and Yoshimura. There's nobody there. Left wings, Norinen and Kidd, no way to check. And at center, Josh Norris, who is American. Let's look to bring him back into the fold. I have the money to sign him. I'll offer him a $1.75 million deal just to secure his services. Harkins, Gaudette is there, who we've had before, of course. Oh boy, do I want to bring him back? I mean, 24 years old at a 78, he could be a half-decent depth signing, I suppose. He is looking to be more than depth, though, but I can bring him in. Potentially trade him. Reichel, Kervinen, and Pettinger. We have no way to check how good they are, so we're good. There's nobody amazing, and if there is, we have no way to double check to see if they're actually amazing. But we'll see what happens there. Gaudette has returned. Gilden, Norris, and Moss have all signed. There was one more, was there not? Or was that it? No, that was it. Okay, cool. Well, at least we were able to re-sign everybody. That's good. Onward to the preseason. I am ever so thankful that there happened to be no big fish prospects available at that point in time. Because otherwise, we were pretty much screwed, really. I would have had, like I said, I would have had to stop the episode and said, hey, okay, these are the guys we can get rid of. Are we going for this guy? Like, what are we doing? Thankfully, again, we don't have to do that. The big question is, though, who will we have to move once we get to the preseason? Because it's going to happen. We have no choice. We have too many players for the top 6. And in terms of solid players we can get back, it's really going to be more of the same. In terms of, you remember the prospects we acquired for the likes of Yamamoto and Logan Brown, that's pretty much all we're looking at right now. There's nothing else we can really get, because if there were any decent American prospects, we would have picked them up by now. We would have already traded for them or drafted them. Regardless, let me take one more look at the contract situation to see who hasn't signed. We have $4.2 million in cap space, which is shocking, all things considered. Again, as far as expiring, I don't care, and it's just Clem and Gibson. Clem will be traded. Gibson can stay unsigned for a couple of seasons just to let him try to progress. So let's see this here. Roster moves. What are we dealing with? In the post-Hellebuck era, Ottinger's up to an 85. Hayden Hockey's a 79. So that works. Hockey's not the best backup option. We could look to improve that. That might be one of the things worth looking at. Defensively, Trouba, McAvoy, Fox, Chris, Ferentz, and Hughes. Borgen gets bumped down. So Gilden, Borgen, Lindgren, Moss, Peak, Samuelson. I might get rid of one defenseman since injuries are not on. So we could look to move out an extra goaltender, which would probably be Nakis, because Wolf is younger and a point better. So we look to move out Nakis and Hayden Hockey. We also look to move out one of these defensemen in efforts to bring in a better backup goaltender. That person is going to be Borgen, based on his age and overall. Could also be Ryan Lindgren. Or maybe even Andrew Peak. I'm not convinced he'll develop. Andrew Peak might be the guy to get rid of at this point. 23 years old. Yeah, Peak's the guy to get rid of. We might as well go with the better overall. So again, that would be Peak, Nakis, and Hayden Hockey. Right now, the big improvement is on backup goaltender. And we'll worry about that now before even taking a look at the forward core, because it's going to be bad. We know we're going to run into trouble. We know we're going to run into a situation there. So in terms of goaltenders, who's left? Keith Kincaid, Aaron Dell. I'm pretty sure one of the two, if not both, are American. I think Aaron Dell is. Kincaid is, and then Aaron Dell. Yeah, we already had Kincaid, didn't we? Aaron Dell's Canadian. So we'll look to bring in Keith Kincaid as our backup goaltender for this season. And that gives us room to trade away Hayden Hockey, which I can do right now. I could wait, technically, and it would be worth it a little bit, but I'll still have my 4 goaltenders signed. I need to free up a goaltending spot right now, because we have... Oh, no, wait, we only have 5 guys signed. Okay, I can wait. I thought we had 6 goaltenders signed for some reason, but we don't. We have 6 goaltenders in our organization, but they're not all signed. I hate menu lag. When you hit the button twice and it only registers once, or still, and then that time you hit it twice and it just, freaks the hell out. So Keith Kincaid, welcome back. Let's go make our first trade here in terms of clearing out some of the excess that is no longer needed. So we go to goalies. We have Nakis and Hockey. And on defense, we go with Peak. And where's the other forward here that we just drafted? We'll tack on Clem to that particular deal. So who could use some goaltending help? As it is, I'm just going to look to get back draft picks. Anaheim would work. They don't really have the cap space to pull this off, though, do they? So first of all, who has cap space? And, yeah. Open contract spots, because we're technically trading you 3 contracts. I don't think the Devils would work. Oh, boy. This could be bad. Vancouver. You don't have cap space. But you do need goaltending help, so maybe, just maybe, this would actually still work out with you. It would. Beautiful. Vancouver. Lovely. Well, a first-round pick won't work. We know that, but damn it, I'm still going to try. Why not? I'm still going to try. Third-round pick, we already lost our second, so an extra first would be great. No, it's not going to happen. All right, well, let's look to recoup our second-round pick. Yeah, I'm just going to try to get back as many picks as I can. Let's pick Horde for the hell of it. 2, 3, 4. How about just 2 and 3? All right, how about 2, 4, 6, 8? Who do we appreciate? Not the fuckers that just cost me a lot of money. How about just a second? I hate you. I hate you with the fiery passion of 1,000 suns, because that should go through. Is a 5th round pick enough to tilt that into our favor? Vancouver, God, I'm so glad you lost in 2011, because you don't deserve anything. 3rd round pick. We'll look for a 4th and maybe a 3rd rounder next year. That probably won't go through. Nope, it would. All right, cool. Well, I'm going to get a little bit more back then. Well, let's try another 4th round pick. All right, so your next 2 3rds and 4ths. Next 2 3rd round picks, next 2 4th round picks, and a 5th. Beautiful. I'll take it. So we sent all the excess out to Vancouver, which is good. They're used to acquiring excess instead of actually getting things that they need and falling just short of success. Sorry, am I being a little bit too aggressive towards Vancouver right now? Probably. Forwards. Oh my God, it's worse than I thought. It's worse than I thought. God, this is going to suck. This is going to suck. So again, we have 2 extra forwards in the top 6. Hughes is untouchable. Besser's probably untouchable. We have Jack Hughes, who's staying. Sonny Milano is not going to get any better than he is now, but he is capable of 40-point seasons. Alex DeBrincat, disappointed last year, capable of better than a 40-point season, still younger, still has room to get better. Ryan Donato, 25 years old, he's not going to get any better, capable of a 50-point season. So does that put him ahead of Sonny Milano? Probably, but he also makes more, whereas Mittelstadt put up 59 points last year, Brock Besser put up 72, there's Eichel, and we can't trade Matthews. Eichel had a bit of a resurgence last year with 60 points. That is the question. Matthews stays, Besser stays, Mittelstadt stays. Eichel, Donato, DeBrincat, Milano. 2 of the 4 have to go. You could argue for Eichel because of the cap hit, or you could argue, let's see how Jack does if he has Austin Matthews. To be honest, Matthews is better defensively, so the top line would be Eichel, Matthews, Besser in that order. Second line would be Hughes, Mittelstadt, because I can only assume Mittelstadt's a better center, and he is, at least in terms of defense. Second line is Hughes, Mittelstadt, which leaves 1 spot on the 3rd line. Or the 3rd line, the right wing spot on the 2nd line. That's if we keep Eichel, which I have a feeling that's going to be the popular opinion to do, is to keep him just to see how he does, to give him that one last chance to succeed, and if he doesn't, we kick his ass out of town. So in my opinion, it comes down to these 3. Donato has the 50-point season under his belt. He's good for 24-plus goals a season. He has proven that. DeBrincat has been capable of a 30-goal season. He came here last year, though, and really fell short. And then there's Sonny Milano. Milano's gone, period. We know Sonny Milano's gone. As I said, and as far as what we trade them for, it's draft picks or prospects the likes of Van Katterson and Rantoul, like we acquired when we traded Yamamoto, Logan Brown, and company. So it comes down to who stays, Donato or DeBrincat. Ryan Donato has proven himself here. He is a proven goal scorer on this team, and we know he works well together with Casey Mittelstadt. That was a very strong combination for us last year, but then there's Alex DeBrincat, who has certainly proven he is capable of some great things, but last season was a tremendous disappointment. So let me know what you guys think. At this point, Milano's gone. Period. Eichel, Donato, DeBrincat. Who leaves? 2 stay, 1 go between, or 1 goes between those 3 players. Eichel, Donato, DeBrincat. Eichel stays. He's on the top line with Matthews and Besser. Let me know what you think. In terms of the third line, I don't know. The fourth line this year could very well be Wahlstrom, Norris, Gaudette. That would certainly make sense. Probably, in terms of the setup, I'm honestly not sure. I'd have to figure that out. In the third line, again, 2 players have to go, unless I want to run Riley Tufte and Max Jones on the fourth line, which might hinder any last-second development they could get. So you know what? In fairness, it could work out. Let's say we bump down Milano. In the fourth line this year. Well, actually, here, let's just say we vote to get rid of DeBrincat, right? I would bump up Norris, as he's a fourth-line guy. And the fourth line this year could be Tufte, Norris, Jones. Third line of Paling, Bracco, Farabee, which would look pretty damn good. I have to admit, that would look pretty damn good. Let's look at what this team could possibly be. So again, it would be Eichel, Matthews, Besser, Middlestat, probably Hughes on the left. So Hughes, Middlestat, Donato, Bracco, Paling, Farabee, and then Tufte with Norris and Jones. That brings a physical and defensive edge. Tufte is capable of putting up points, there's no doubt. Or at least attribute-wise, he should be capable of putting up points, but he's not going to beat anybody in that top 6. That top 6 is pretty much locked in. Unless Farabee or Paling progresses to a ridiculous extent. But I really like the Farabee, Paling, Bracco combo. That's pretty damn sick. Even if there's not like a go-to... There's not someone who's the go-to guy to take the shots on that line. It's kind of the one thing that they might be missing. So that might be something we have to think about. And in terms, I gotta admit, you know, someone like a Milano could stay, technically. Or even a Donato, and play them on the third line and give them power play time to keep them happy. Jesus, yeah, that is an option, isn't it? So, Jeremy Bracco last year, the whole how good of a playmaker is he? He put up 29 points. Bracco's not going to get any better. So, Jeremy Bracco could go. Farabee still has the chance to get better. Tufte still has the chance to get better. Jones still has the chance to get better. But do we have faith in Joel Farabee? Because my thought is, say that we keep... Here, you know, for example, just let me show you what I'm thinking here. Just go best lines there for the moment. It literally doesn't matter. We'd probably keep ADB over Milano. It's just a matter of whether or not this is worth it. But we call up DeBrincat. We commit instead to trading Jeremy Bracco, which makes sense. In terms of trying to keep someone happy, you know, the morale system's not on, but it can still affect them in a negative way, which is unfortunate, at least from what I've seen in this game. So it could very well be something like this. Hughes, Middlestat, DeBrincat, Farabee, Paling, Donato. And in that way, we change Donato over to the sniper of that line, which he's certainly capable of being. It's certainly possible. If we don't have faith in Joel Farabee, potentially drop him or trade him and have Donato, Paling, Bracco, or Milano. There's a lot of combinations, as you can clearly tell. I'm going to put some thought into it beyond just what we've talked about in this episode. I'm going to wait to see your feedback, and then we'll take it from there. Defensively and goaltending, it's set. It's just a matter of what combinations do we want to go with, who stays and who goes. Is it worth putting Oliver Wahlstrom on the third line this year offensively? He's good enough to do it. We don't exactly have to rely on his defense and physical category to wait he's a good enough offensive player to be in the NHL right now. Sonny Milano, what do we do? Jeremy Bracco, there's a lot. There's so much to think about. And the pressure's really on with this team to start delivering after the abysmal ending to last year. We are in a situation to make sure that we are contenders yet again. It's just a matter of making the right move. And if we make the wrong move or moves here, that could put us into a very bad spot. But for now, guys, that'll do it for this marathon. Maybe not the best format for this episode. Maybe we could have chopped it up a little bit more, but I do feel like it was kind of important to just show you guys, like, hey, here are all the ridiculous possibilities. I don't know. It is what it is. The episode's the way it is. If you enjoyed it, awesome. If you didn't, hey, I'm sorry. Hopefully you enjoy the next one. But if you made it over 50 minutes into this episode, I have a feeling you enjoyed it in some way, even if you skipped ahead. That said, thank you for watching. You know what you can do to support the video and the channel. Leave a like, subscribe, click the bell. Ring my bell. Ring the bell. Do it. Anyway, thank you for watching. I hope you have a good day, night, evening, brunch. Any brunch fans in the house? Fucking right. Brunch. Brunch actually sounds really good. But it's too early for brunch. Is it ever too early for brunch? If you have brunch at 2 in the morning, is it still brunch? That's the question of the day. Until next time, have a good one. I'll see you later.